Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jean Stu, and today we are doing one of my all-time favorite recipes, the lamb shank in red wine sauce. You cannot miss this recipe. It is that easy. You can overcook it as much as you'd like. It will still taste delicious. For the ingredients, you have just a very few of them. We have carrots, onions, celery for the mirepoix. We have a can of crushed tomato, some tomato paste, as well as some garlic, aromatic in bay leaf and thyme. Obviously for the lamb shank, I recommend to go to your local butcher in order to get the best quality lamb shank that you can get. And in the meantime, you're also going to need a nice bottle of full-bodied wine. So what we're going to do next is start chopping our vegetables. And the shape that we want to go for is a brunoise, which essentially is a sophisticated French word for tiny little cubes. Just cutting our onions, removing the top and bottom. And then we're going to cut the onion in half. Simply going to put some small slices, and then we're simply going to create our little cubes. Celery next, a little bit simpler. Simply do some lines of about the same size of what you had previously with your onion. That's it for our celery. I don't like celery much myself, but in this recipe it just brings a whole lot of flavors to the table. Now the carrot next. What I would suggest doing is to halve them to begin with, like so, and then you're gonna wanna have some regular size lines. Then just align them nicely and you're ready to dice. What is called in French a mirepoix. So a lot of small sized little cubes of carrots, onions and celery. Crush your garlic, peel it off and cut it in rough little pieces. One of the simplest preparation you can get. We got our mirepoix right here. For this one, don't be too hard on yourself. We're not professional chef, so if one of the little cube is just a little bit bigger than another, it's completely fine. It's still going to taste the same in the end. The garlic is chopped. We have our lamb shanks at the ready. Our stewing pot is now out and ready to cook. So let's just get stewing. We're gonna start by adding a drizzle of olive oil. Lamb shanks right in. We're gonna let them take a little bit of color on each and every one of the sides, and when that does happen, we're gonna switch to the two other ones. Lamb shanks are seasoned. Now we're adding our mirepoix to the pan. Feel free to add a little more of olive oil if it looks a bit dry like it does for me. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes approximately. You can see that the onions are starting to be translucent right there. So what we are going to do next is to add the garlic. Give it a little swirl and leave it for another minute or two. Now what we're going to do is to add about half of the bottle of wine and scrape your pan in order to deglaze it. Wonderful. Don't forget to breathe that in. All the alcohol evaporating right there. Now we're going to add a bunch of thyme, add a couple bay leaves, the tomato paste, crushed or chopped tomato can. We're going to pop back our lamb shanks one at a time. In theory, they're not warm anymore, or not too warm, so you should be able to handle them with your hands. Chicken stock, if you are using some grocery store cubes, that's completely fine, but in the meantime, if you want to have the best version of the lamb shank, I'm gonna add right here a link as to how to make your own chicken stock. Absolutely easy to make, and you're gonna see it makes a huge difference. What we're about to do is to transfer our pot all the way to the oven. Et voila! Leave it for about 3 hours at 160 degrees, and we are going to see the result. It's been about 3 hours, and it's now time to have a quick look. Look at that. Wonderful. So let's just pour the flour in there. And we're simply going to whisk it to thicken up the sauce. The dry plums goes in. You can use some dates as well. It all works pretty well. About to pop it back in the oven, but this time don't put the lid on. And this is how you make the perfect lamb shank. Someone is very excited about it. I promise you, if you try this recipe, you can't miss, because you can overcook it, it will still be absolutely wonderful. Everything's just gonna fall off the bone, and you're gonna have the best dish that you've ever served. So give it a try and let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, bon appétit!
That's it. There's no more, Tiny. It's all gone.